Hello everybody, my name is Andy Lagopus, and welcome back to ZNN Interviews. Tonight, we have the amazing artist and author duo behind such classics as Sunderance and a bunch of other stuff, you know? They've done a lot. They've done a ton, like the list is huge. So let's give it up for Kulkum and TheWyvernsWeaver.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the show, y'all.
All right. Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Comfy little room.
So, first question for either of you, like actually both, would be, what do your names mean? Like Kulkum, what is that? What's a Kulkum?
Short answer, Kulkum originated from a game called, hold on, can't even remember the name of the game anymore. Anyway,
Just some game.
Stonekeep, that's the name of it, Stonekeep. And the last villain was named Kulkum, which is actually spelled the same way my name is spelled.
Oh, have I been mispronouncing it?
No, it's actually pronounced Kulkum.
Okay, good.
And then I decided to adopt the name for role-playing purposes because I used to role-play when I was in my, late teens, early 20s.
As you do.
Yes, and that's where the name originated from, and I've just been using it for years as a handle. So
Awesome. That's cool. And TheWyvernsWeaver.
Weaver. It was because I thought it was just a synonym of artist. I wasn't very smart back then, and the TheWyvernsWeaver, there was a whole other backstory to it, which isn't really that interesting now that I look back on it.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cue to tell us, but okay.
Well, it's just not that interesting to.
Okay. If you insist. So there's another Weaver in the fandom who's known for art. Do you get mixed up for T.G. Weaver a lot?
Yeah, early on throughout 2016, we were confused by that. Yeah, I used to enter servers and people would confuse me for him, and it was a little embarrassing. But I rolled with it. I never tried to correct them and say, "Oh no, that's not me." I'm the bear artist.
Ah. Hey, you both have your own styles that are pretty much completely opposites.
Yeah, I intensely respect his art because you can tell that his style is essentially brain over, the craft and the skill itself. It's entirely about, the concept behind what he draws, and I hugely respect that content.
Whereas you put a lot of craft into your work, and it looks amazing for it.
Why, thank you. I'm always never content with, what I draw. It's always, I consider my skill to be a work in progress, even now still. Probably, hopefully it'll be somewhere I'm content it'll be by next year or so.
Isn't that what you said last year? And
it
the year
is
before?
exactly what he said last year.
A never-ending process.
Sobs, that means I failed. Many tears.
So how long have you been drawing for?
Me?
Yeah.
Ever since I was my dad told me a story about when I was 3. He gave me a pencil and I just started doodling all over the walls of the apartment.
Hey,
I would draw dragons. I would draw, characters. It's a story that he always tells me. You drew since you first picked up a pencil, whatever, and you drew. That was the beginning of you as an artist. So I stuck with that. I thought, well, I guess that's my calling.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Did you attend school for it, or are you entirely self-taught?
Entirely self-taught, yeah.
Wow.
I would love to, enter a school. That would have been pretty great, but life got in the way, and I'm entirely independent. I had to teach the craft myself.
He's in the school of Weaver.
Yeah, the trick to learn is to find a goal and people who know, artists who, if you want to improve your art, you should try to interact with people who you admire, at least. If not that, at least someone who you consider to be better than you. That's the skill. I found that this method pushes you
That's some great advice there.
Yeah,
Thank
improved
you.
quite naturally. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, Kulkum, same sort of thing. How long have you been writing?
Let's see. I think the first time I actually wrote something that I considered to be of substance was when I was 13. And it still falls on the fan fiction / Disney. I didn't even realize until somebody asked me when I started writing. I wrote a Rescuers Down Under fan fiction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's one you don't hear much about.
Well, you won't hear anything about this one either because it was done on a typewriter, on paper,
a typewriter.
and yes, I'm almost 40, so I was using
geez.
typewriters.
Very classy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the papers.
Yes, all the class.
Well, it's lost. I mean, I'm sure it was probably recycled at some point, so nobody's ever going to see that.
A shame. A shame.
Even if it exists, you wouldn't want to, type it on a computer back again. Even
Or
if you
let
magically found
anybody
it.
know.
Yeah, I was 13. It was my first thing. It was probably god awful.
Looking back, probably pretty cringy.
I look back at things I wrote when I was 20, and that's pretty cringy. So I imagine 13 is worse.
All right.
Yeah, I personally destroy anything that I consider cringy for myself. And Kulkum and would stop me since I met him, would keep me on the leash from deleting any art that I consider to be way too cringy.
Yeah, I have a folder of his art that he may someday accidentally delete.
I consider my gallery is full of stuff that I consider cringy. Like I badly want to delete them, but if I do, Cole would just maybe post it somewhere else, and I would have no control over it anymore.
So, did you two know each other before Zootopia, or did you meet in this community?
We met in Zootopia community.
Yep, I approached him. I approached him first when I read his story. The At Her Feet series at the Broken Mask. I was just blown away by the writing. I read it and like, damn, this is a goddamn good writer. And I thought that, well, maybe if I fan art for it, see what he thinks on it, maybe if there's a chance that we could collaborate on something. Because I thought that his skill was beyond what I was used to. I was just used to reading typical fan fiction writing styles.
Right.
After I came upon his, I was like, well, this is all I need, and he has spoiled me ever since.
Yeah, and I feel the same way pretty much. He created a piece of fan art for the Broken Mass series and sent it to me, and I was, immediately in love with the piece. The piece is amazing.
Which I not consider garbage.
Of course he does. It's still my favorite work by him. I mean, it's probably sentimentality, but however you look at it, it's still a great piece of art. And he approached me and he's like, "Hey, do you want to work on a project?" And I was like, "Yes."
I was blown away when he accepted. I was blown away when he accepted. I did not think that he would say yes to any of that. I thought, well, maybe he was too busy. He must be some sort of professor teaching at some sort of college in America. So I thought, I'm reaching here. I'm reaching too much. And then he said yes, and that's how Sunderance came to be.
Awesome. So you two were basically like fanboying over each other's works. Oh my
goodness,
I fanboyed
him first. Yeah. I fanboyed him first. I'm the fanboy that went to the writer.
It's okay. I fanboyed him right back. Yeah, we were definitely fanboying each other. It was probably pretty embarrassing if you want to put it in context, but whatever.
My skill back then was
awesome stuff.
Did not merit any fanboying. My skill level back when I met Cole was not any level of fanboying.
Oh crap.
Now I'm somewhere.
I'm calling bullcrap on that because
I'm content.
I've been singing your guys' praises since day one, right?
Right? Everyone says so.
Oh, on the ZNN articles and such. Like I always you've done great art since the beginning. Don't sell yourself short.
I tell them that all the time.
Very much appreciate the features.
And so the two of you are known for always working together on comics and such. Like, How exactly do you go about collaborating like you do?
Well, could write first, and I would art it.
Yeah,
most
fair
of the
enough.
time. Most of the time.
Okay,
Most of the time. He
that's
would
simple
write
enough.
stuff. We would come up with an idea and stumble. He would find the time to type it down. I'd read it, love it, nitpick it here and there, and he'll bite back, and I'll art it. And that's how it usually goes.
pretty
All right.
much. We have an unusual artist-writer relationship because most of the time, from what I've learned, an artist who works with a writer on a comic online, they'll only take the choice parts of the writing and turn that into the comic, or they'll kind of try to minimize the amount of the actual story that they put into the comic. But Weaver and I don't do that. He puts everything I write into comic form, especially in terms of Sunderance. But at the same time, I write Sunderance in a way that makes it possible to do that. I don't go overboard, which I could easily do, but I condense it in a way that makes it possible to put every chapter into comic form. Not that it's not a lot of work for him, because it's a lot of work for him.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's like 20 pages or more per chapter. It's pretty insane.
Geez.
And sometimes I don't always stay faithful. I would tweak things, and he would just rage at that I would dare to tweak anything. And it's and we would have these debates and arguments that last hours and
Or days.
Or days or weeks. It happens. Sometimes I would be adamant that my change is the correct one, and he would be adamant that no, his is. But we always reach compromise.
Artists. All right, well, that's all we have time for tonight, but Kulkum, TheWyvernsWeaver, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And until next time, I'm Andy Lagopus, and this has been ZNN Interviews. Have a good night, everybody.